Kilowog has trained more Green Lanterns than anybody. If you get inducted into the Corps, more than likely, he's your teacher. And there's only 2 Green Lanterns that were tougher than him in training. Keon, who was a student of his, and the Green Lantern that trained Kilowog. Green Lantern Ermey. In the comics, Green Lantern Ermey is a homage to actor and U.S. Marine Drill Sergeant Ronald Lee Ermy, who was in Full Metal Jacket. In the Green Lantern movie Emerald Knights, he's called Green Lantern Deegan. I'm going to use the footage from Emerald Knights, and I'm probably going to refer to Deegan as Ermy because there is no Green Lantern Deegan, and I'll explain what happened in the comic book in the end because there's only a small difference. First thing we hear Ermy saying is, "That's Sergeant Ermy, poozer! You know what a poozer is, don't you?" Kilowog's like, No, sir. It's like, poozer's what I call stupid, useless fucking rookies. Like Brillowog over here from Ball of Wax Vic. Kilowog then says, it's Kilowog, sir, from Billavac Vicks. Ermy's like, did you say something, Brillavac? Kilowog realized he fucked up and says, no, sir. Ermy then tells him, hey, you're whoever the hell I say you are. Understood? Kilowog's like, yes, sir. He's like, I can't hear you. Kilowog tells him, yes, sir. Ermy then asks him, what was that call I caught you making? You calling home to mommy and daddy? Kilowog's like, no, sir. I was calling home to my wife, sir. She's pregnant with that first. He puts a box over his head like, yo, shut up. I ain't trying to hear that shit. Did I ask for a Bridgerton novel? Yeah, I know about Bridgerton novels and Earth culture. Whatever the fuck about it. You got only one family right now, Poozer, and they're all wearing green rings. He is not wrong. He then asks his new recruits, whose power, Poozers? And they all say, our power, sir. Whose light, Poozers? Our light, sir. Yeah, you damn right. Ermy then welcomes these new recruits to hell, and the first thing he does is take their rings because he wants to see what they can do without them. And we see here that Green Lantern Tomar Ray speaks up. He's also a legendary Green Lantern who's in the same class as Kilowog, which is amazing because I didn't know they were in the same class and served under the same Green Lantern instructor. Tomar Ray tells Ermy, sir, we're giving you our rings, but we're in an active volcano. Ermy tells him, that's why we're here, bird boy. I want to see what you can do without that shiny green rock on your finger. Bye-bye. And then out of nowhere, Green Lantern Ermy just creates a fucking construct that cuts the cliff they're on in half, and he watches his recruits drop down into this active volcano. Kilowog looks behind him, sees his classmates falling, looks up at Ermy like, are you fucking serious? Ermy's looking down at him like, you goddamn right I am. The recruits fall down to a chasm. Luckily, Kilowog is on the bottom. He's the strongest, and he's able to stop himself from falling by holding onto the walls. Everybody lands and piles on top of him, and it's so hot we see his boots melting. Thanks to Kilowog, everybody's able to climb up out of the volcano. They're making their way to the top. A rock gets loose, and actually, that's not a rock. It's a boulder that gets loose, and it nails Tomar Ray in the face. He's falling down. Kilowog catches him, puts him back on the wall, and tells everybody, yo, get in a single line formation. Kilowog says they can make their way out with him as the base. Ermy's like, you think so? And then we hear his ring saying that temperatures are spiking in the magma chamber. As they're climbing up, more boulders get loose, and we see 2 more recruits fall. Kilowog grabs them as well, gets them back on the rock. They're stepping on his face to get back onto the wall and climb back up. And Green Lantern Ermy is like, yo, you gonna let people just walk all over you, Brillalog? Fucking forget about these guys and save yourself. Shrug them off. Kilowog tells him, I'm not shrugging anyone off. And we see them making that long climb out this volcano. Tomar Ray's helping his classmate, but then the fucking rock they're on gives way again. Tomar Ray holds on, grabs onto his classmate, and they make a chain. And Kilowog grabs onto the last link of that chain. I want to give Green Lantern Tomar Ray credit here because it looked like he was fumbling before, but my man is holding everybody up and he's only got 3 fingers. The time isn't on his side, and we see that rock give way, and everybody's falling down to the magma pit as it's about to explode as well. As they're falling to their deaths, we see Green Lantern Ermy step in. He saves everybody, and we see the volcano exploding behind him as he makes his way out. And he's like, maybe you guys want to go someplace cooler, someplace with the breeze. Kilowog is staring a hole through him, knowing he's on some bullshit. Now in the comics, Green Lantern Ermy took them to a planet that had all these different types of disasters going off. It was freezing up here, lava going off down here, sand pits over here. In Emerald Knights, we see them in that sand pit portion. They are forming a human chain trying to hold on to each other because there's a whole fucking sand whirlpool happening trying to pull them in. Now, at the end of that human chain, this time is Tomar. He's like, yo, I can't hold on. Kilowog's telling him, hey, we're not going to let you go. And just as he says that, Tomar loses his grip and gets sucked into that whirlpool of sand. Ermy sees that happen and tells Kilowog, huh? Guess you shouldn't make promises you can't keep, Poozer. Kilowog looks at Ermy like, this fucking guy, man. And we see him jump into this sand whirlpool and go after Tomar Ray. Ermy's like, oh, this is just fucking fantastic. Congratulations, Poozers. Now you got 2 dead rookies eating sand instead of... And he looks over and he sees this huge thing underneath the whirlpool of sand. He's like, the fuck? Yo, Kilowog is there. And he's throwing up Tomare. And I mean literally, he chucks Tomare at the group and then just fucking powers his way back to them so they can pull him up as well. He is out of breath, dead tired. While Ermy's just standing over the entire group like, okay. We then see everybody resting by a campfire. Kilowog is just, keeping the fire going, and then Green Lantern Ermy just comes over and just kicks that shit out. And Kilowog looks up at him like, Ermy tells him, yo, get some rest. You're gonna need it when we hit the ice canyons tomorrow. And this dude Ermy he has all the energy of an immigrant dad. Entirely. And Kilowog, who's had enough, looks up and he asks him, why? And this shit is serious because everybody else is asleep, but they wake up like, ooh. Ermy asks him, why what? Kilowog says, do you enjoy seeing us in pain? Seeing us doubt ourselves? It's like you want us to quit. And look at his get up, man. He's all beaten up. They're all tattered, all tired. They're just like, what the fuck? You can tell Kilowog is frustrated, but he's still calling Ermy sir. And Ermy tells him, I don't have to explain myself to you. Kilowog walks up in his face saying, yo, we're all here because we want to serve. He tells Ermy, yo, if one of us gets killed, you're nothing more than a murderer, sir. Ermy takes off his power ring, sets it off to the side, looks at Kilowog and says, say that again. Kilowog knows he's already in it, so he's like, all right, I'm going to say it. You're a mean, sadistic, sorry, punch in the goddamn mouth. Punch that man in the mouth with a backhand. Look at his face. Look at his face. You know that shit hurt. Kilowog has fucking had it. He's like, you know what? Haymaker. He throws a hard right at Ermy. Ermy ducks that shit and gives him 2 to the gut. Kilowog tries to come down with the axe handle. Ermy rolls out the way, kicks the back of his knees. Ermy ducks under Kilowog's backhand and is now in his face and hits him in his face right under the chin, knocking him back. Kilowog looks up and sees Ermy standing over him and he's like, you know what? We're already fucking here. Big Boot kicks him all the way back into some plant tree thing. Everybody's watching like, oh shit. This is happening. Ermy isn't even upset. This dude looks at Kilowog and he's fucking smiling because he was waiting. He gets up and runs down on Kilowog. Literally crosses him up and over by running along his fucking arm to get onto his shoulder, put his legs down and just start going to town on his head. Ground and pounding a man standing is insane. Kilowog grabs Ermy's arm trying to throw him, but Ermy reverses that shit and tosses Kilowog's big ass. Kilowog is down. I love this because it shows 2 lessons. The first one that Ermy teaches Kilowog is that, yeah, a Green Lantern power ring, one of the most powerful weapons in the world. To serve under the Green Lantern Corps, you can't hide behind that shit. You gotta be able to fucking throw hands without that power ring on and handle yourself along with any other situation that may occur. Ermy then tells Kilowog the second lesson. Ermy tells everybody, hey, you don't like how I do my job? I don't give a damn. I'll give a damn what you like. Any of you. If you're still alive and ring slinging a few years down the road and lucky enough to watch your family grow as you honor your oath, then and only then will you understand. But getting old in my Corps is a privilege. We die so innocents don't. That simple. Once you put on the ring, the life you live stops being your own. I love this because it shows that, he takes his job seriously as not just an instructor, but a teacher for being a Green Lantern. And if you can't cut it through the shit I'm putting you through right now, maybe it's best you don't serve here, because a good teacher can teach a bunch of different students a bunch of different ways so they learn. However, there are some things like serving in the Green Lantern Corps where, I gotta put you through the fucking ringer. For Ermy, I can only teach you this way. I don't give a fuck if you don't rock with it. Your job is to pass with it. You don't have to like it. Your job is to pass with this shit so I feel comfortable and I can entrust that Green Lantern power ring to you and know you have what it takes. We then hear a distress call from Salak, who tells him, we got some fucking aliens going through it and they need your help. Ermy's like, we're gonna be there. He hands everybody back their ring and he goes to hand Kilowog his ring, then he drops it. Ermy tells everybody to get them rings hot because they taking the fuck off. They arrive and Ermy puts himself in front of the army that's attacking these civilians. And he tells the Green Lantern Corps recruits, go protect those civilians. I got this. This dude is stepping into an entire army by his fucking lonesome, trying to buy the recruits some time. I love that we get to see Ermy get fucking active. He keeps trying to shield away this army. They're breaking through their weapons. All right, he does it again. Makes that shit fucking powered up. Breakthrough again. All right. Now we gotta do shit the hard way. They are bucking off shots at Ermy, and my man's like, all right, This is happening now. I'm gonna get this shit popping as he recites the Green Lantern Oath with his own mix to it. He says, in brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight, you freaking bastards, while laying them out. This man is going crazy. The army says, you know what? Bring in the big guns, and they bring out this tank with a beta cannon on it. Ermy turns around, sees that shit and says, crap. And my man flies fucking into it with a star shield. Kilowog comes in to help out his classmates. He's like, yo, where's Green Lantern Ermy? Tomar tells him he told to stay here and protect the civilians. Kilowog looks up and he sees Ermy holding off that fucking cannon. Ermy is trying to push back this beta cannon. He's holding on to his construct, but that shit breaks and he gets nailed with the cannon and it is frying him the fuck up. But my man just, all right, time to fucking activate. He gets his shield back up and creates a fucking drill and starts spinning that shit. The army turns up the heat on the beta cannon and puts even more power towards him. He's like, nah, fuck that. My man starts spinning for momentum and brings that shit right to the tank, making it explode. Ermy takes out the tank and we see him get blown back. Yo, your boy is done. Ermy is laid out and his ring is flickering. He's barely holding on to life and the army encircles him. He doesn't even have enough strength to fight back as they step on his hand like, oh, he's gonna make a great trophy. Then all of a sudden, everybody starts getting knocked the fuck back. Kilowog shows up. Ermy sees Kilowog getting it and he asks him, what are you doing? Kilowog jumps back to him and says, never say goodbye, sir. Ermy tells him, yo, you're gonna get yourself killed. Kilowog tells him, hey, haven't you heard? It's not my life anymore. He tells his friends, yo, I'm about to do a taser sweep. Get the shields up. And we see Kilowog go crazy. I'm talking cutting the fuck loose. Kilowog literally cuts down this entire army. Kilowog is drained from that taser sweep. And he looks back at Green Lantern Ermy. Ermy tells him, nice trick. Kilowog sees he's dying. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go get help. He tells him, nah, forget it. And then he tells Kilowog, you know, I would have never let any of you get killed back there on that planet. Kilowog tells him, I know, sir. And Ermy tells him, it's just that in this job, you gotta go to the limit. Not many can. But you're not like them. Lantern Kilowog. And we see Ermy in his own blood graduate Kilowog as he draws the insignia of the Green Lantern over Kilowog's white circle, symbolizing that he's no longer a rookie. This shit was so cold, and Kilowog understands what Ermy was trying to teach him, as he gives Ermy the honors by entombing him in the Green Lantern casket. This is how Green Lanterns are sent back to Oa when they die. Kilowog's teammates come over and they're like, yo, the Kundians, they're retreating. And Kilowog's like, yeah, okay. What about the motherfuckers that are still here, man? I got a feeling when they wake up, they ain't gonna be too happy with us. Tomar Ray's like, yeah, I got it. He says, yes, sir. Because he sees that Kilowog has graduated to full-fledged Lantern. Perfect thing is that as Tomar Ray goes away, we see Kilowog looking back at Lantern Ermy, and then he says to himself, poozers. And we see that when he uses that word, poozers, which he calls everybody, he's paying homage to his teacher and his instructor, Green Lantern Ermy. Now, the only difference between the telling of this in Emerald Knights and the telling of it in Blackest Night, Tales of the Course, #3, is that in the comic book, Kilowog isn't really as abrasive. He questions, but he didn't fight with Ermy. Ermy does, however, give him the same speech, so Kilowog gets what he's going for here. And when Kilowog's group gets called in to help civilians, they're also helping some pinned down Green Lanterns as well. When Ermy goes down, Kilowog had already jumped on an enemy cannon and was just letting them shits go, saving the day and rescuing those civilians and those lanterns. Ermy, dying in Kilowog's arms, saw him taking charge. Ermy's dying breath, he tells Kilowog, you and your classmates served the Corps proudly today. I think there's a leader in there somewhere. Kilowog tells Ermy, I've always been more of an order taker than a giver, sir, because keep in mind, he's not a military man. He's a geneticist on his planet. And with his last breath, Ermy says, I beg to differ. Kilowog, showing he knew his name the entire time. And again, we see Ermy's blood drawn onto Kilowog and the insignia of the Green Lantern symbol to show that he's graduated. And when Kilowog's leaving, we see him joined up with the lanterns that he rescued. A Green Lantern thanks Kilowog for not only saving his life, but the mission. Kilowog says, I'm just doing my duty, sir. That Green Lantern tells him, yo, if and when you become a Green Lantern, I hope you look me up in my sector, 1417. Kilowog thanks him, and then that Green Lantern introduces himself and tells him, I'm Sinestro. What's your name? And here we see Kilowog meeting Sinestro for the very first time.